Hi, I'm Lorien, and welcome to the Knitting On YouTube podcast. This is a space where I talk about knitting and any other creative pursuit or just things that I found interesting that I thought you might find interesting to share. Thank you for joining me today. If you are new, welcome to the channel. If you are returning, welcome back. And if you are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. It does help YouTube know that people who are interested in similar content would be interested in my channel. You can find me on Instagram, where I am most active, and Ravelry under Yarn Love Turtle. This is episode 8, and let's get into it. So what I am wearing is a summer tank. It is called the Alice Top. It ends right here. It rolls a little bit. It is a very casual bottom-up knit designed by Petite knit, and I knit it in Sandnes Garn Tykk Lena. It is rolling a bit. I probably could reblock it, but to be honest, I wear it mostly for casual things, and I actually wore it today with a denim jacket over it. I sometimes wear it with a long skirt or white jeans, and I have knit quite a few tops in this yarn. It knits up very quickly. It is a heavy gauge, probably Aran or more, and I really enjoy wearing it. It's a cotton yarn, so it knits up, like I said, quickly, and no sleeves. The one thing I would change is the drop is a little low in the armpit, even more so on that side, and I think it's tricky with a bottom-up knit. It's possible if I washed it again, maybe it wouldn't shrink up quite as much. But I just really like the lines of this. My favorite section is actually this little seam in the back, right here, where the fronts and backs are put together. It's just really creatively done. Okay, I have a finish right here. So I'm gonna put these on because usually I consider projects on Ravelry finished when I finish the knitting part. But this had quite a bit of extra work involved. These are the Matroska mittens, and they're knit. They're designed by Elenor Mortensen, and they are a traditional Scandinavian knit mitten. They have this really sweet faux cable here, and they have quite a bit of embroidery, as you can see here, or double duplicate stitching. So I finished the knitting a while ago, but I have had this duplicate stitching to finish up, which I'm gonna take them off so I can show you. So the duplicate stitching is in the face, and these green stitches here in the body, and it called for a row of a dark red, and I just wasn't really seeing it, so I left that out. And then a pink, which I think it didn't call for 2 different pinks, but I decided I liked the bright pink here. I had to learn to do these flowers, and that's the last piece I did, but I finished them up last night. I have not woven in my ends, but it's summer here in Connecticut where I live, and I'm going to put these in my woolen accessories bin for the winter. And when that time comes, maybe I'll finish the ends, but I really basically consider them finished. This is a lovely pattern. When you buy this pattern, you actually get 2 designs in one. So both use the same cable and the same stitch count, but there's another motif for the mitten, and it's the shape of a deer. So when you see the link, it will be called Deer and Matrjoschka mittens, because that's what you get. You use the deer pattern mostly for the cuff, and because I've knit these kinds of colorwork mittens before, kind of had a sense of what to do. You start from the wrist up, and I did fewer repeats. It called for a longer wrist, and I was concerned that I might run out of yarn, which was not the case. I have about 17 grams left of this, which is the Mitchell wool Targhee fingering. Now, I don't believe they sell this any longer. They may have a few skeins left, but they have other blends mostly. I have never felt targi with such a low micron count. It is incredibly, incredibly soft. They give you a lot of information. I haven't opened the ball band, but you can see they give you the names of the sheep inside. They give you the micron count, a little background on who they were. I've talked about Mitchell Wool Co. before. I'm really a big fan of their family business. They're out of Michigan. This color was a special. They were doing a monthly yarn club and dyeing special colors, and this was the February 2023 color, and I just loved it. I saved it for something special, and I'm really glad that I did. The other yarn that I used is from the Gray Sheep Company. It is their Hampshire 4-ply in the colorway Oatmeal, and I have like 30 grams left of this. It's a fingering weight yarn. It's a very toothy yarn, but it's still soft, and really happy with this project. I will use those yarns again for something. They'll get put into something. Okay, that's my finished. I have 2 works in progress. So the first I'm really excited to show is this sweater. It is also by Elenor Mortensen, and it has a similar cable motif on the collar and the cuffs as those mittens that I just showed you. It's a top-down colorwork sweater. I think I'm knitting the size 3, and I knit the stockinette on a size 4, the collar on a size 3 needle, US sizes, and the colorwork I bumped up to a 5. I just like to have a little extra give in my colorwork. Now I'm doing the stockinette body, which will all be in this darker green color, and I'm back to my 4s. I just made it the other day to dividing for sleeves and knitting in the round. You might have seen me show this on a different episode, and I was using a bright magenta pink / purple, depends on your eye, and this dark green. And on my last video, I considered that a fail. I really wasn't pleased with the contrast of the 2 colors. While I loved the 2 colors individually, I just felt it wasn't doing the sweater justice. So I'm still using the green. That is from at Haynes House Yarns. And this color is called Just Leave Me Alone. It's in their Bare Feet Sock base, which is a 75-25, 460 yards. It's just a very pleasant colorway. I would love a sweater just in this color alone, maybe on a sport base or something a little thicker. And then I found some of this, the mint green color, which is by Stress Knits, which has been, I follow Stress Knits for several years now and have always admired this color but never had it in my possession. And when I was somewhat in a state of denial that I was going to have to take out the pink and green version, I started looking for options and looking at alternative colors. And I was able to find this in a D-stash. And I had bought all 3 skeins. I think I may only use 1 in this, but it was just too precious to pass up. And I'm sure I will come up with another plan for the other 2 skeins. Now this pattern is designed to be long sleeves and have a little more color work on the cuffs, and I think it's, the way I read the schematic, for me it would be cropped in the body. I think I'm gonna knit the body longer for sure, and then I'm gonna figure out what length sleeves I need. I'm probably a little close in yardage on this color compared to what the pattern calls for. I think I'm just about there, so we'll see. I think this would be a beautiful short sleeve sweater as well as a long sleeve sweater. So I'm really glad that I made the decision, let me just put it aside, to frog the original version that I made. And the project still exists. You can see it on my Ravelry pages. I just wasn't going to be happy with that contrast. And as much work as I'd gone into getting it to pretty far into that yoke, I just felt like it wasn't going to be as perfect for me as I would have loved it to be. So I'm glad I persevered. I feel like sometimes you can get to a point in a project where you're just not really sure. And to be honest, I set it aside for a bit and left it on the needles before I actually took it out. I waited until I found the color. The mint, the pillow mint, is the color of Stressness. I don't think I mentioned that. It's on her favorite base, which is an 80-20. And it is a little different feeling to knit with the 80-20 and the 75-25 in these two yarns. But I think it's working up just fine. I left that pink and green version on the needles until I was sure I had another yarn to go with. So my next work in progress is made with yarn that I bought from Vogue Knitting Live, New York City, on a pattern that came out just prior to it. And I believe it's magnificent, but I don't think I'm going to be able to show you how magnificent it is on screen here. So these are the, I could put it on. This is going to be a cardigan, and it's top down. I think it has a folded collar or a scrunched kind of long collar. This is the Milton by Locatelli. And one way I can try and show it is to put it on. It is knit. I have knit a few of Hohi's cardigans, and I really, really enjoy all of her designs. I've enjoyed nearly all of the designs of hers that I've tried to knit. So you're really not seeing the tone on tone. Maybe there. It's black. This is La Bien-Aimée yarn. It's the Merino Sport. The Merino Sport. And the little Kumo, which is the lighter. She has two Surrey bases, and that is the light base. And they're both in the color Noir. Now, one thing that is absolutely fabulous is this yarn is not crocking onto my hands. It's black. It's a perfect black. It is indie dyed, and it is not coming off on my hands. This cardigan weighs nothing. It's supposed to only require 1 skein of the little Kumo and 3 of this Merino Sport. I bought these from Brooklyn General Stores booth at Vogue Knitting Live New York. I actually bought the green in the first sweater there as well, the dark green, that Haynes house yarn there. It's a very interesting construction, and I have just gotten through. It has raglan increases. In the black, it's going to be really hard to tell, and it might even be so until I block it out. There's a little bit. But I have just finished the last of the raglan increases. I am right here as far as the body goes. It is an A-line design, the body, and I'm a little up in the air about how many of those A-line increases I'm going to do. I've actually put a question about it in the Hohi Ravelry group thread, where she's been running a Milton knit along for months, and I really only started making progress on it recently. Hohi is 4 inches taller than I am, and having knit a few of her cardigans, I know that I don't need quite the length from the underarm down that she includes. And I'm kind of banking on that because I am a little shy in my yardage of little Kumo. So I think I'm going to finish my first sport skein, and then I'm going to pause the body, see where I am, pause the body, and probably do the sleeves. These sleeves need to be, in my opinion, for me, full length. They'll be gauzy because of the Surrey, but I really want them to be full length. For those, a lot of times I knit my sleeves 2 at a time magic loop. I think I'm going to knit them 1 at a time on a small circumference needle. I just think it will be quicker. This is a very easy pattern. A lot of you may be familiar with her Elton sweater, which is I believe a pullover version. Similarly, it was designed in mohair instead of Surrey, but I'm not a mohair fan. I find it pretty itchy, and I instead replace it with Surrey. So I think this will be a very useful addition to my wardrobe, and it's also convinced me that I will need a white cardigan. I'm not doing this pattern in white, but I'm going to need a lightweight white cardigan in my wardrobe at some point. So, I'm gonna slide it off. For both of these sweaters, I'm really at the points where I might be able to start reading again. I have had a goal of reading a book a month this year, and I got a little bit ahead, but I think I fell off a bit in the month of May because these sweaters and knitting that one yoke twice were things I needed to pay attention to, and I could not knit and read. So I have not finished a book in quite some time, since my last finish. All right, a couple of other things. I have made no updates on my Noro Freestyle sweater, which is knit in Noro Ito in the color 23 Kure, K-U-R-E, Kure. I got to the point where I need to reinforce my Steeks. So one of my local knitting friends also is a sewist, and she is going to help me, and we just have to set up a date for her to sew my Steeks, and then I will cut them and I will seam the arms and add maybe some kind of edging to the sleeves, and then I'll have that finished. It's not really a sweater to be worn now. It's definitely a heavier weight sweater, but it is sitting in limbo, and so I'm not going to show it today. I'm hoping I can take some video, and it'll probably go on my Instagram though, of the steeking process when we get to it. All right, new stuff. So I have a couple of acquisitions that I am excited to show you in no particular order. I have visited, and I do follow, the YouTube channel of Yarnia, which is a yarn store in Montclair, New Jersey. And most often in their weekly videos, or maybe it's every other week, it could be every other, they do a giveaway. And usually they have some type of prompt, you leave a comment, and they randomly pull a winner. And I was randomly pulled, and the prize at that time was for a skein of Aimee Kumo, which again could not have been more perfect for me. I got to choose my color, and I chose the colorway Stone. And I decided that I would add to my order, because they pay for shipping, I would add a second skein of it. So I have 2 skeins of this. I don't really have a plan for it, but I also think it might look really nice with this black, and I do have a skein of Aimee Kumo in black also. So this is just delightful. They included a card. I mean, this is a pretty sweet thing to win, folks. And they have a really fun and friendly podcast, I think, and channel. It's definitely worth checking them out if you have not yet. So thank you to, here they are. They're on the back of this card. This is Kathleen, Jen, and Amanda. And yeah, I really, like I said, I very much enjoy their YouTube channel and their podcasts. So that's gonna get just sort of put in the bins for when I have a plan. The next is a purchase I made. Here we go. The next is a purchase I made, and this is incredibly special yarn that is near and dear to me. So, I'm not even sure if this is, who this is. It's a sheep. So, Renninger Yarn Company, Renninger Wool Company is, I think that's the same sheep. That looks like Winnie. Oops, there she is there. Do you think that's her? Maybe the top of her head's a little different. I don't think that is. Jenny, if you watch this, if you do, please correct me and introduce us to these two lovely ladies. So Jenny and I met on Instagram, and when I knew I would be taking my daughter to college, I had some posts up, and she said, "You have to come visit me, we're not that far." And I had an opportunity to meet a friend I met online in real life and visit her farm. It is the most bucolic, picturesque, beautiful place, I think, on earth. I think she probably had about 15 maybe sheep when we were there. Subsequently, when we went and visited my daughter, I think in October or late September, I said, "We're coming into town, could we stop by?" And we did, and we got to meet Jenny in person. At the time, she did not have any wool. She has a very limited, it's a small batch production, and she was waiting for it to be processed. This is a picture of her farm. And I'm going to read a bit of this. It says, "What makes Renninger Wool Company yarn yarn special? Our small batch yarn is created using only the wool from our sheep. All of our sheep have names and wear coats to keep their fine wool clean." So I've never seen them not coated. I think they're coated all the time. "When you work with our yarn, you will know which of our sheep's wool went into the yarn. Their name and picture will be on the label. Our sheep are rotationally grazed from spring through fall. They're pasture moving every 3 to 5 days. The practice is healthier for our sheep and for our land. It takes a year for the sheep to grow the wool that goes into our yarn. After each sheep is carefully sheared, the fleece are hand-picked free of debris before being spun into yarn at our small family-run mill in Pennsylvania. All of our yarn is either naturally colored or naturally dyed back at our farm. Therefore, no harsh dyes or chemicals are used to create the color in our yarn. It's better for you, our sheep, and the planet." Established in 2017, Renninger Wool Company is a one-woman operation with a very supportive husband who volunteers his time around his full-time job. Our mission is to provide our neighbors near and far with both near and far with wonderful small batch yarn from well-loved, responsibly raised sheep. Our minimally processed, straight from the farm sheep yarn is full of life and character. We hope you enjoy working with it as much as we enjoy producing it. And she sent me a little note with it. So Jenny's yarn became available, I think in April, maybe April or early May. And you should get on her mailing list because you can go visit her website. I will have the web address linked if there's what's left. But it is, like I said, very limited production, small batch. And it says small batch yarn from well-loved, responsibly raised sheep. And some of the colors were even gone before I placed my order. I just needed to kind of sit and think about it a bit. I wasn't totally sure which color, and I ended up getting the kind of a medium brown, which is still, I think, pretty dark, but there is one darker even. And it is from Winnie Woolly Buns, is the sheep, and it is DK weight. Here it is, and it really is spectacular. This is going to become an Oban vest, which is designed by Thea Colman, and it is an all-over cabled pattern, and I am very excited to use this precious yarn. I have 3 skeins of it. Thank you, Jenny, for helping me choose the color, and we may even be knitting this together. We'll see if we can. We would like to do a knit along because we both have in mind to knit that vest. Okay, and then my last new thing is I have purchased yarn before from Back Loop. What are they? I think they were under Back Loop Yarn Co. at the time. Now they're Back Loop Yarn and Fiber, and her name is Erin, and she dyes beautiful colors of yarn and fiber. And Erin has also expanded her line and is now doing polymer clay under the name Rosie and Ray Polymer Clay. And Erin put up, this is her first set of stitch markers, so it's by the sea inspired. There's coral, a snail, I think this is a starfish. They're all flipped over. Starfish, a purple shell, and a sand dollar. And I think these are gorgeous. They're lightweight. I love the colors, and I jumped on the opportunity to get one of these early release sets from her. And I said to Erin, if you ever make turtles, let me know. I go under Yarn Love turtles. I don't have turtles. I just love the turtle animal. I love sea turtles. Turtles are said to have a lot of patience, carry the weight of the world on their backs, and I have a small collection of turtle figurines. So I said, if you ever make turtles, let me know. Well, lo and behold, in the box, she made me a turtle. And it's just very special. Little tail. So, a polymer clay turtle, but do check it out, Rosie and Ray Polymer Clay. I think she's definitely on, Rosie and Ray Polymer Clay.myshopify.com, but you can easily find her on Instagram at Rosie and Ray Polymer Clay, but you'd probably get her just with the Rosie and Ray. She has, the site actually has quite a lot of earrings, so really contemporary designs in earrings and nice bright colors that I know I would wear because they'd show up in my hair. Okay, those are my acquisitions. Some knitting plans. So I definitely am keen to finish these 2 sweaters, which is why I think one may end up short-sleeved, but we'll see. I think I'm kind of in the, when you're on a road trip and you hit the straight part of the drive, I feel like that's where I am with these 2 sweaters now. It's pretty much going to be back and forth or in the round, maybe a small bit of color work left, maybe a small bit of ribbing. But I feel like I've hit the straightaway on these projects. I am also planning a couple of other summer projects. I stay fairly true to my knitting list that I set up in the end of one year for the next year. So I have not yet knit the Tolsta Tee. I have some yarn, what would I say? I don't know if it's vegan. I wouldn't say it's vegan yarn. I have some cotton yarn, and I have some yarn in a tencel base, and I plan to make some type of tops. The Tolsta is one. I may make a summer Whitmore. I made a winter DK weight version. The nice thing about these yarns is they are both DK weight, but they're lightweight. They are plant-based fibers. That's what it is. So I'm definitely making a Tolsta Tee with one of them. One of the yarns, I am deciding about the other still, if it will become that pattern or a tank. I know the Tolsta tank is about to come out, so we shall see. I would also like to knit the Rumble Raglan, which is a design by Lydia Morrow. That is on my list. My friend Shannon, who is Whiskey and Wool and has the Knitter's Life series. If you are not watching her, please go follow her on Instagram and on YouTube. She is just a brilliant designer and a lovely dear friend. So let's see. I have also wanted to knit the Ferda Ganser. This is by somebody Pickles. More to come. I would like to use some Advent mini skeins for that. I was really inspired by Laurel of the Knit All the Things YouTube channel, which she had that on her needles for quite some time, and she has fabulous bright colors. Mine are not quite so bright, but I think the colors I have are going to be really good and with my coloring. And that's going to be a lot of playing with color and which it's kind of a very geometric pattern, and so it's going to have a lot to do with which colors to pair together in the 2 sections. Heidi and something pickles. I'll know more next time. And like I said before, I need more cardigans, especially a lightweight white cardigan. I don't really have the yarn for that. I'm not necessarily adding that to my list for this summer, but I'm adding it to my list to be made. Okay, on to the end part. And I have a few things to chat about that are not knitting related. If you've stayed this long, fabulous, thank you. If you're signing off, I totally get it. But I think these are some kind of fun, some good tips. And if you were with me on the last one, two of the things we talked about, I just want to revisit. The first is we talked about red lipsticks, and please, thank you to everybody who made some suggestions. I would be excited. I'm excited to have some new ones to try. Second, we talked about pillows. And I wanted to come back. Thank you for all of those suggestions. There were quite a few people with some very similarly strong perspectives on pillows. I ended up ordering a pillow. This is a pillow. And the company is called the Coop Sleep Company. Oh, this is their cool, hold on. This is their logo on this side, Coop. And I ordered their cooling pillow for side and stomach sleepers. There we go. It looks lumpy. It doesn't feel lumpy to sleep on. And so it has this cutout for your shoulder and your neck. And I will say, my neck is much more comfortable using this pillow than using a regular squared off pillow. So that's a starting point. I decided to get the cooling one, and it is filled with, here, Oomph Cool. They give you extra fill. So it is some type of foam fill. I'm gonna try to open it up without taking all of it out. It has these small little plus, this one's not a full plus, but foam, I don't know, pieces. And they give you extra so that if you would like your insert to be more full, you may do that. So is it cool? It's so definitely enjoying the firmness. I appreciate that they gave you more that you could also use when your pillow loses its density. I've probably been sleeping on it for about a month now, and I'm still enjoying it. It does not need to be re-fluffed. The cool part, I believe, maybe it comes from that. I think it also significantly comes from the outer material. So there's an inside and an outside, which you can wash the outside, which I have done. It is cool to touch. It doesn't stay cool once your head is on it for a few minutes. But then it gets cool again. So you find a cool spot, move your head there, and then that's cool, and that warms up, and then the spot you were in is cool. I move a lot in my sleep, so I am definitely appreciating my choice with this pillow and this investment. The other thing I will say is the first one came and the insert had some type of like watermark, some type of stain on it. Not the outside where I'm sleeping, so I was fine with it, but I did take a picture and I did send it to the company. Their service was phenomenal. They wrote me back right away and they said, you don't even need to send that back to us. Just enjoy it. We'll send you another one. So they sent me a whole replacement kit, not just the piece that had the stain on it. So I really appreciated that. So I recommend it. I have sheets from them, and I also have a cooling blanket, which again, cool to touch, doesn't stay cool once your body warms it up. If you move into a new spot, it gets cool again. And it's very silky. My husband's enjoying it too, so it's been a win. Not the cheapest option, but for a good night's sleep, I'm willing to make that investment, even if it means I'm buying a little less yarn at that time. Okay. This is not an and, but I need to jump back because one of the things I am planning to cast on soon involves this yarn. It's Queensland Cairn, and I bought this yarn. It's 2 different colors. I bought this yarn to knit the Market Square, I think it's called the Market Square bag or Market Square tote. And I love having a new bag for in summer, and I saw a sample in Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl shop, and I plan to cast this on. But I need to get those sweaters further along. The other thing I wanted to chat about is trying something new. So I enrolled, I guess I just felt like I wanted to, I love my knitting, and I can knit with my eyes closed, I can knit and read, and I have done and learned a lot of things, and new things even, with knitting more recently, or in recent years, over time. I'm really sorry, I'm noticing this light is not super great, but I'm going to keep going. Nope, sit forward. I took a pottery class, a ceramics class, through my local continuing education department. And it's actually held in this class is held in the building where I work all day in the high school. And I thought I would show you some pieces. So these are a few of my initial pieces. They're all bowls. That's all I've made are bowls. Well, more or less a bowl, a spoon rest. These are finished though. I've glazed them, done all of the footing on the bottom here. Did this one. So these 2 are the same glazes, but in opposite order. They're 2 colors. I think they kind of look pretty similar. One's a little flatter here, especially. And this one, I think the glaze is really cool, but it's incredibly lopsided. Here, you can see a lot more here. Like the base is centered, but I think it kind of fell off somewhere. But this glaze is very cool. There are pieces of glass crystals in the glaze, and it makes these cool designs. So, and the one, for some reason, that many people saw when it came out of the kiln, and they really liked this glaze. This is a very glossy combo of these 2 colors. So what it has been, I don't want to say it's humbling. It's reminded me that when we start new things, we're not perfect at them. Not at all. You know, it's about learning, and it's a process. And so when I meet people who don't knit or who are newer to knitting, like, I'm a newbie with this, you know, like I'm having a lot of fun. It's a very different type of creative work for me. I feel like I'm constantly telling myself to slow down, because these are my first pieces. These are the first things I threw, and the class is organized in a studio format. So there are people who've been doing this for 8+ years. There are people who've been doing it for 2 years. I was part of a group of 4 who were pretty much brand new, and the teacher sat at a wheel with us. This is all wheel thrown. We could do slab work. We do any kind of ceramics we would like to. The teacher sat with us and took us step by step through making these. And I just felt like, because I was pacing with her, like my pieces were much more easily centered. Like this was not so well centered, I guess. I think this was okay on the bottom. The top, not so good. But it's okay that they're not perfect. Look, I certainly have started some and frogged them as far as the ceramics go. I didn't like how it was coming out, and I took that piece of clay off my wheel and went in a different direction. I have a few other pieces. My class unfortunately won't be run over the summer, maybe in August, so I will come back to it. But I think it's really challenging me to remember what it's like to be a beginner. Because I have not been a beginner knitter for some time. I feel like I'm a beginner crocheter, although I have produced a few things. And I'm not saying I'm trading my knitting in for ceramics, not at all. I have a lot of yarn still to knit through at a minimum, but it's very pleasant. It's inspiring to be with a group of people in this studio. Like it's a classroom, but like it's an open studio setting in that we're not being specifically instructed, you must make X, you must paint Y. You know, we have a whole suite of colors of glazes to choose from. These are ones that I chose. I layered my glazes. Some people chose a solid color. I did 2 different colors and did some research on how they might turn out. And just having fun being new at something and enjoying the process of it. I feel like the painting, the glazing part is much easier for me, whereas for some people they're not as excited about it. A few of the other new people are very into what's called footing and carving, which is like putting an edge here, rounding the bottom, maybe the sides. I'm not as excited about that, and I've honestly had a hard time just starting, which is called centering, in my last 2 classes. So we only have 1 more class left, but I thought I would show you what I have made so far. That is going to wrap up today, and I hope to be back shortly with some updates. Let me know if you've found any other crafts enjoyable or other activities that you use to kind of balance out maybe your knitting. And I'm finding the balance very inspiring, humbling, and just fun. All right, with that, take care. I'll see you again soon.